Hello trappers, Ed Schneider, Kansas Trapline Products. Today's video is fleshing beaver on a beam. I had a great time trapping beaver, marten, and fisher while I was up in Maine. It was a wonderful time. I met wonderful people. I can't thank John Carville enough for the experience that he offered me being up there on his property. Just had a tremendous time. And like always, folks, I appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and the subscribe button. It means a lot to me. It helps me put out more videos like this. And as always, tight chains, trappers. How you doing, everybody? So today, we just finished doing our skinning our beaver. And now it's time we want to flesh it and we need to board it. So in this segment we're going to talk about fleshing. And as you see, I'm always using plastic gloves. That's the right thing to do. There's a lot of examples out there on beaver fleshing. Guys who do it on their knees, guys who can whack it away, be done in a couple minutes. That's not me, and I'd be lying if I said I could do it that way. So, whoop, lost my dress. I do know how to use a beam and a fleshing knife. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, I want you to understand one thing, and if you hear some gunshots in the background, I think the neighbors over here are doing a little target practicing, and it's deer season and stuff like that. I think we might even still be in some moose season. But anyway, the market right now is the hatter market. Beaver are sold by the pound. Now, if you're doing something for yourself and you want the animal a little bit cleaner and that type of thing, by all means, do that. There's items on the beaver I don't need. I don't need the lips. I don't need the nose, things like that. That's up to you if that's what you want to do. So when you watch me do this, it's for the hatter market. That's the avenue that we're after right now, is the hatter. So for the most part, I know some folks, I was talking to John, they like doing between the legs. For me, I like starting at the head. Let's just get the hard part out of the way. That's kind of my belief. The knife I'm using today is the Weeby Wicked Sharp Fleshing Knife. I like about it is this is about the width of maybe a little narrower than my shoulders, but it's comfortable for me. And so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to have to use both sides of this blade. We're going to use the pusher side and we're going to use the sharp side. And just like the coyote fleshing video, we got to do a little slicing, especially on beaver. But beaver the head is difficult. The tail is a little challenging. The belly along between the legs is very simple, and we got to be careful to push that fat. We're going to talk about it. For me, I like, and then at the very end, I start out with the head, then I do from leg to leg, and on both sides, and then I do the middle and tails. So let's get started here. Starting with the head here, I'm going to start, and just like anything, we want to keep this nice and straight. And I'm going to go ahead and do a little slicing. I'm going to slice. You can if it feels like you need to turn the knife a little bit down, a little more, that's fine. But let's go ahead, and I'm going to just rearrange the camera here so you're focused just 100% on my cuts and not on me. So let's do that. Okay, so again, using a sliding motion, and I'm about at the ear. Got a little bit more to go. If this is in my way, what I can do is just go and use the sharp side of the knife and kind of slice that to make it exposed so I can see what I'm actually getting close to. This head does not need to be perfect. And if I need to use my knife, I can, and I will on that one. Let's go ahead and get this around the head. You don't need to be perfect here. Just get some of the heavy stuff off. Again, this is the hatter market. This is not fur market. So I'm pretty good. That's pretty tight. That's going to dry fairly well. Let me go ahead here and slice down. Now I don't need that bottom lip, so I'm cutting the lip. And I'll do over here the other side. I'm going to do the same thing. Might flesh it a little bit here to the side. Don't need that bottom lip. That's intentional. So I have that now. I can go ahead and cut this little cheek meat off. Now there's a lot on a beaver we don't need, and I got some cheek meat over here. I'll do the same thing. There we go. All right, so now I have my main design. There we go. The head, again, does not have to be perfect. There. That's probably all I'm going to worry about on the head. There's not a lot on it right now, and it's certainly for the hatter market, they don't need it. So we're just giving what they want. I'm going to come over here to the side. Now we gotta worry about this side of the beaver is very soft meat. This side of the beaver is slicer meat. It's a little bit hard. One thing we can do is just go ahead and put that leg right into the end of your beam, if your beam will allow you to do it. And let's get that out of the way. I'm going to slice on this side, being careful not to get into that thinner skin leg. To me, this is probably the hardest part of the whole beavers, this transition stage between that head and the if you cut beaver, a lot of times it's going to be around that area. If you cut it, this knife is very sharp, so you got to make sure you're there. We go. Let me push that off. Good. So this side's pretty good. I'll go up here and slice some of this off. Now when I'm doing this, I want you to understand that when I bring my blade back, I slice down, but I also drag it back. Slice, drag, slice, drag. Don't slice, pick up, slice, pick up. Don't do that. I've talked about that in my canine trapping one. I'm getting into the soft meat, so I can start to push a little bit. Not quite, but it's right there. One side of that leg is soft and buttery. The other side is a little stiff. Got a little bit extra right there. Let's see if I can clean that up without slicing it. I could slice. There we go. Pretty good. Now, if you want, in this zone, as John would tell you, the knife is going to automatically go from the hard to the soft and push without you having to make any decision whether you want to do it or not. For myself, I want a little narrower strip, so I always kind of begin with a little slice, and then I switch over to the push. Just pushing right now, not doing any sort of slicing. Then again, I'm going to come over here. I moved it over, slice for a little bit for me, and switch over to the push. Because that side fat is like butter. Slice. And butter. Okay. Rearrange it. I'm getting now back down here toward my hind leg. Let me go ahead and kind of clean this area up. I did 2 beaver. I showed you one of them, and I think I might have put a nick in the second one, just a very small nick. I'll have to, and I don't know which beaver I currently have right now. I'm going to stick the leg in here. Let's go ahead and butter that, get that bottom scraping out of the way. It helps me anyway. I got this flesh and beam from a guy in New Mexico. He's a good guy. Yep, okay. So I'm going to push that fat around the leg, being careful again not to rip that leg. It's easy to do, so if you do it, you do it. We'll have to nail it up. So now I'm on the hind quarter of the tail. Now it's going to be easy here to think you can just keep slicing away. I'm going to tell you just to be careful that you don't end up slicing too low in this zone, because it's easy to cut into it. It's easy to cut in anyway. I think that's the motive. the theme of my presentation is, yeah, and see how it wants to bunch up. So that's where you're going to cut. Let's see if I can push some of that fat out of there. If it bunches up, that's when you're going to get your cuts, guys. See, I did a little tear, but that's all right. It ain't much. I'll just cut this off. Let's repeat. Started going a little low there. I felt the knife dig. But if you don't get this fat off, she's not going to dry. I feel like I'm shaving an expensive garment right now. I'll go and push the rest of that off. That cleaned it up very good. Where's that other leg? There's the other leg. So I'm still working. This is a pretty good beaver. Again, do a little slicing. If you're getting into hair follicles, you're going too deep. Nope, I still got a slice. That tail just wants to bunch up. Look at that milk fat coming right out of that thing, the oil. Okay. Let's see if we can push some of this fat here. Getting close to that belly, so that fat starts wanting to come off a little easier. All right, got it? Still moving on real nice. Let's do a little slice leading up to the hind foot. It's getting buttery. Let's start pushing. Let's go ahead and get this in here. Get that fat out of that leg. Here we go. Get it back up. Clean it up a little bit. See how that little tag is? I can go and cut that little tag off. I don't need it. There we go. If I don't, if I can't do a good job, I can just go ahead and trim it off, right? Yeah. There we go. All right, we're back to the sides. Let's start that back up by the head again. And where I said that meat's a little more difficult, I'm going to do some slicing here by the front leg. Let's slice a little more. Okay. And we're going to go and take this front leg and try to push off that fat right there by the front leg. right. Doing a little pushing there. Just doing some pushing. I know it's probably kind of tight to see, but that's kind of what that is. Let me clean this head up a little bit around this area. I got a little bit of meat that I can trim off. Grab that little bit and just do a little cut. Yep, if I can get a hold of it. I can't get a hold of it. There we go. All right. That looks better. Let's slice a little bit again. And see if we can push. Yep, we can. Clean that up pretty nice. Get this little bit around that leg again. That looks better. All right. Now we're just down to, we're almost down past the halfway point. Slicing again. Butter, push it. Just push it out of there. Slice. Clean this up. It's looking pretty good. Looks like I'm down to my last little bit here. Now I can get back to pushing. And the cleanup. Pretty good. All right. What's left on this now is a single strip of back fat and a back meat saddle. So this is all a slice here. So we're just going to be careful. Start working it down, and again, if you have any bites in the beaver, you're going to find them at this stage. Anything got nipped at, so you got to still take your time, even though it's not too bad to do. What we do is, or what John does, we caught this beaver yesterday and hung it up overnight to let it dry, and today I'm processing it. See all this? Let's just cut it off, get it out of our way. We are unseasonably warm, and it's going up against my marten trapping right now. I've caught just the one. Hopefully tomorrow will be a better day. Keep the work in front of you. Keep it centered, keep it in front of you, keep the pelt tight. One little tag left. We got a beaver done. So there's our beaver, free of blemishes, hopefully. Got a little mark on it. I don't know if that comes from the conibear or whatnot, but we got this beaver done. The only thing left to do is tack it up on the board so we can have it. I got one more beaver to do. We'll come back and we'll tack up the beaver and board it.